Hello everyone, Schmeat back here with another video. It has been about 8 months since I posted. I looked up how many days since I last posted, and it was about 265 days. That is 71% of the year. So I thought I'd come on here and talk about some actual exciting Hornets news, because this past year, I'm going to be honest, I haven't posted in 8 months. I have not missed a lot. Obviously, I haven't talked about Mark Williams being pretty good as a rookie. I would say he met his expectations. Obviously, he spent some time in the G League development. I'm kind of indifferent about how Charlotte handles their G League players with Steve Clifford as the head coach. We'll see how long he lasts, because if they underperform this year, I think this is his last year. But the exciting Hornets news is that there's talks that the Hornets and Pelicans could arrange a trade. And why this is in talks, sorry if the camera quality kind of sucks, why this is in talks is because it came out that the Pelicans would like Scoot Henderson. They have tried to draft a point guard. They have traded for a shooting guard in CJ McCollum. They have Brandon Ingram, and they have Zion. They have not found a reliable point guard. They traded for Devontae Graham. The Hornets didn't really capitalize on that trade, although they got out of having to pay Devontae Graham. Devontae Graham is a fine backup, but he's no true point guard who can start on a decent team like the Pelicans and make it to the playoffs or whatever. So that's why the Pelicans would like Scoot Henderson. Great prospect, young. Came up in the G League. He had that awesome battle versus Victor Wembanyama, and every team would like a Scoot Henderson, and that's why the Pelicans would want to trade for him. Why the Hornets are in talks, because the Hornets have the number 2 pick. Why this would be smart if you're the Hornets is because you're not even looking at Scoot Henderson. You're looking at Brandon Miller, which I'm indifferent about. I would rather take Scoot Henderson. Everybody and their mother is talking about how the Warriors drafted for a position when they drafted James Wiseman instead of LaMelo Ball, and they're bringing up that a lot when talking about Scoot Henderson and Brandon Miller. We already have LaMelo Ball. We don't really need another point guard, and that's the argument, is that you draft Scoot anyway and you'll make it work. The same thing happened with De'Aaron Fox and Tyrese Halliburton. That worked, but the Kings wanted to figure out if Sabonis would fit with Fox, and it clearly did. So it's possible to draft a position where you don't necessarily need that position. Although I think LaMelo could play a shooting guard position. He's great off the catch and shoot. Although he does like the ball in his hands, and Scoot needs the ball in his hands as well to be effective, I think they could work out. But the basis of this video is talking about what a trade could look like with the Pelicans. If the Pelicans really want Scoot Henderson, they want that 2 pick. They wouldn't want the 3 pick, because if they get a trade with the Blazers, which is probably a good trade, and they actually might want the number 3 pick, but they would have to make the Hornets promise them that they are not drafting Scoot Henderson. And I don't know if the Charlotte Hornets can make those promises. I don't know if they're that trusted of an organization that the Pelicans would want to take that risk and have Scoot not fall to them. So what a trade would look like, that's the subsequent question. What a trade would look like. A lot of people are talking about Zion. It's kind of crazy. I just saw a notification on my phone, and that's why I kind of started this video, and it said the Pelicans would want to trade Zion if they're getting Scoot. That is a crazy thought. And if the Hornets could figure out a team with LaMelo and Zion, I think we would be on House of Highlights every night. And obviously that's not the goal of me as a fan, is to be on House of Highlights every night, but that would be an awesome team to get Zion. I don't know what that trade would look like, though. I think that's that makes the most sense as a piece to give up, because Zion's injury prone. You don't know if he's gonna stick around past his contract. You don't know if he's gonna be a bust, and I don't know if the Pelicans are willing to see that through. So that's their reasoning in trading Zion. Now, what would they trade him for? Obviously, the number 2 pick, but there needs to be something else. You can't just trade him for the number 2 pick. There has to be salary, something in the salaries to make it even, because the Hornets would add about $30 million in salary or whatever, and that just wouldn't really make sense. So we need someone to bring him over. What I've seen is Gordon Hayward. Now, if I'm a Pelicans fan, I am trading away the former number 1 pick, Zion Williamson, for a number 2 overall pick that's uncertain and aging player in Gordon Hayward. It just really doesn't make sense. Because Zion, although he's injury prone, when he's out on the court, which is limited, I know he's limited, which is why they'd be willing to trade him. But when he's on the court, he is a machine. He's 27 points per game, 10 rebounds. He's efficient. Which makes me think, as a Hornets fan, if we can pull off a Gordon Hayward number 2 overall pick, which is Scoot Henderson, for Zion Williamson, I am totally okay with that. That is a perfect trade for the Hornets. I know we have a Miles Bridges, who we do have to bring back, and I'll probably have to make a video about Miles Bridges. We do have Miles Bridges. We do have PJ Washington. You have to get Zion. PJ can play the 3 position. Zion can play that 4, and then the 5 can be Mark Williams or whatever, and Miles Bridges can come off the bench, or vice versa with him and PJ. But you got to get Zion if he's there, especially for that trade. That just pushes our ceiling so much higher and our floor so much higher as a team. If we get Zion this offseason, I don't care about Scoot Henderson. Zion is, 24, 25? He's a little bit older than Scoot Henderson, and he's a proven player when he's on the court. All he has to figure out is his weight, and that's easily controllable. All the basketball stuff when he's on the court is perfect with Zion. It's perfect with Zion. Yes, he could have a better outside shot. Yes, he could hustle on defense a little bit more. But other than those 2 things, he's perfect as a basketball player. It's just getting his weight down, getting those injuries away from him, and figuring him out mentally. And I think a new location in Charlotte could really help. Although there's a bad track record with players in Charlotte getting in trouble with the law, like LaMelo. And if you've seen any videos of LaMelo driving his car, you know he would be bound for a couple speeding tickets. There's Miles Bridges, there's Montrezl Harrell, who got in trouble with the law when he was with the Charlotte Hornets. So we don't have the best track record. But yes, that's this video, is talking about the draft. I will probably live stream my reaction of the draft just because it's so big, and especially if there's a trade on draft night with the Hornets, that would be huge. That would be huge. Another possibility, like I mentioned earlier in this video, is the Pelicans really relying on the Charlotte Hornets to draft Brandon Miller number 2, and then trading with the Blazers, who are a perfect trade candidate because the Blazers want to trade something as well. They get out the number 3 pick. Trading with them to get Scoot Henderson, I think it'd be more likely for them to steal in at that number 2 spot, just because they don't want Scoot to fall to 3. But yeah, that's the basis of the video. Very interesting what the Pelicans can do. They have a great team. They have Brandon Ingram. They have CJ McCollum. They have Zion. They have a few pieces around them. They're a good team, but I guess Scoot Henderson in their eyes pushes them over the edge. Could they trade with the Charlotte Hornets something other than Zion? I think they could. I don't think the Hornets want CJ McCollum. I don't think the Pelicans are willing to trade Brandon Ingram. So I think the likely candidate for the Pelicans to trade with is Zion. So it'll be interesting what actually happens. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys later.